Okay, so take a look at this. It might just look like a bowl of dessert, right? But what if I told you that inside this one bowl, there are literally thousands of years of myths, history, and, well, human memory all packed together? It's an incredible story that kicks off with one of the most famous legends you've ever heard. So here's the big question. Does the recipe for this dessert, which is called Ashura, actually come from Noah's Ark? I mean, seriously, could that be real? Well, that's exactly what we're going to find out. We're going to follow the clues from ancient legends all the way to modern history. All right, let's start with the legend first, because this is a really powerful story, you know? It's been told for centuries across a whole bunch of different faiths, and it all kicks off at the end of the world. So just picture this for a second. The Great Flood is over, the endless rain has finally stopped, the water is going down, and Noah's Ark has landed safely on Mount Ararat. Everyone's safe, thank goodness. But their food supplies are practically gone. I mean, they're down to the last little bits and pieces of everything. So what do you do in that situation? Well, the legend goes that they gathered up every single last scrap of food they could find on the ark. All the leftover grains, all the dried fruits, the nuts, everything. And they just tossed it all into one huge pot. What came out was this amazing, sweet, and really nourishing pudding. It was basically a meal to celebrate that they survived, to show gratitude. And what's wild is that you find versions of this exact story in Islamic, Jewish, and Christian traditions. It's this incredible shared myth about starting over. I mean, come on, it's a perfect story, isn't it? Such a beautiful symbol of hope and human ingenuity when things seem totally hopeless. But is it actually true? Was the very first bowl of Ashura really cooked on Noah's Ark? To figure that out, we've got to step away from the legend for a minute and dive into the history books. And you know what? The historical trail, it takes us somewhere completely different. We're going way, way back. I mean, even before the time of the Ark. We're heading to ancient Mesopotamia, the cradle of civilization itself. And this is where you can really see the difference between a myth and actual history. The legend tells it like it was this one big dramatic moment, right? But the historical evidence, it points to something else entirely, a really slow, gradual evolution that took place over thousands of years. So what does history actually tell us? Well, according to food historians, people like Andrew Dalby and Jean Botero, the real ancestors of Ashura were these super simple porridges made by the world's very first farmers. Think about it. They were boiling grains like wheat and barley, and they'd sweeten them up with things like dates, figs, and honey. This wasn't some kind of one-time miracle dish. Nope, it was an everyday staple, just a common meal that kept people going. So Ashura didn't just pop into existence on an ark, it grew slowly out of thousands of years of ancient food culture. But this dish is so much more than just a list of ancient ingredients. As it evolved over time, it started to take on this really profound spiritual meaning. It became a sacred, shared ritual. Even the name, Ashura, gives us a clue. It's connected to the word Ashura, which basically means 10th in Semitic languages. And that's referring to the 10th day of Muharram, which is the very first month in the Islamic calendar. And believe me, this day is a very, very big deal. So why is it so important? Well, it's because it commemorates a bunch of huge events. For many Muslims, it's the day that Noah's Ark was saved. It's also the day Moses led the Israelites across the Red Sea, and for Shia Muslims, it's a very solemn day of mourning because it marks the martyrdom of Hussein ibn Ali at the Battle of Karbala. So you see, the dish itself carries all these different layers of meaning: salvation, deliverance, and remembrance. And because of all this incredibly deep, layered history, the tradition grew into something, well, something much more than just eating a bowl of food. It came to mean that Ashura isn't just made to be eaten, it's made to be shared. And this, right here, is the absolute heart of the tradition. People cook these giant pots of it, and then they share bowls with their neighbors, with their friends, with anyone who might need it. It doesn't matter what their background is. It's just this incredibly powerful symbol of community and looking out for one another. Okay, so let's try to bring all of this together: the myth, the history, the ritual. What does a simple dessert really tell us about, well, about all of us? You know, it's really fascinating, this whole idea of a special mixed grain dish to celebrate something. It isn't unique to Ashura at all. The ancient Greeks, they had something called panspermia, a ritual offering of mixed grains. And you find all kinds of similar sweet puddings across the Balkans and the Middle East. It almost seems like it's a universal human thing to do, right?
When you want to celebrate abundance or just the fact that you survived, you mix everything you've got together.
And get this, there's even a modern scientific angle to it. When you look at the ingredients, grains for complex carbs, beans for protein, fruits for fiber, nuts for healthy fats, Assure is actually incredibly balanced. It's funny, modern nutrition is basically just telling us what ancient cultures already knew instinctively. This stuff is a biologically smart food. It gives you real sustained energy.
So when you step back and look at all the evidence, from the myths to ancient Mesopotamia, all the way to modern nutrition, you start to realize something. The story of Ashure isn't really about finding one single true origin. In the end, whether the recipe first came from Noah's Ark or from the dawn of agriculture, it doesn't really matter, does it? Its real power is in what it represents. It's the story of all of us, of humanity's shared survival, all in one bowl. It's this beautiful reminder that when we combine whatever we have and we share it with each other, we can pretty much get through anything. And that kind of leaves you with one final thought, doesn't it? What other foods out there carry the entire history of a culture in just a single bite?